Alright, I think my audio is working. Excuse me. Alright, so just going to do a couple of models tonight. Been working on some different stuff. Some of it's not been coming out as well as I'd like, and so I've kind of restarted a couple things. And I was trying to work on a way to improve live models, and they looked sharper, but they didn't work as well. Like they were kind of poor in their ability to do facial expressions, so they were sharper but didn't act as naturally, so that took up some time. But anyways, so we got Walter White here, which isn't horrible. I don't know what the deal is with facial hair, but you can see it's kind of looks thin. It doesn't really translate that well through Deepfacelab. I think it works better when I use it like for a video, so I'll probably try to put him in something like a video clip and see how it goes. Facial expressions work pretty good. He doesn't really talk super naturally either. It's like the mouth doesn't get much play in it, which is a little strange, because I used a pretty long set of interviews that he did where he's talking the whole time. You'd think that his mouth would act more naturally, but it just kind of isn't. So I don't think about that. We got his wrinkles and stuff pretty good in here, and overall, like, I mean, it definitely got the likeness pretty good. It's kind of weird. Let me try screwing off the size of it, and then that's the wrong way to go with it. I think it might have worked better as a head model for me, but the person that requested that I make it, I think he prefers to use just the face models. Like the smile is pretty good on it, but it almost morphs the face a little funny. You can see like the forehead and eyebrow area and stuff kind of bulges out, which is a little unnatural looking for some reason when I smile with it or do certain facial expressions with it. But I will have this model available on the Google Drive here. The link is in the description. I had it uploaded to a different folder just so I could test it and decide if I was going to go ahead and bother to do a video about it tonight. It's good enough that you guys can play with it. I'll try to keep getting a better result out of it, but it should be functional for people who want to mess with it. So that's, again, Bryan Cranston / Walter White / Heisenberg from Breaking Bad. Heisenberg with glasses. That was part of the problem with finding source material, is we did it without glasses, and there's not that much of, like, there's only like 1 or 2 scenes that I can find in the show where he's got this specific facial hairstyle and no glasses. The only other places I found that was in interviews he did about Breaking Bad. So kind of weird, but it doesn't look too bad on you if you're already bald, which I am, as you well know. So it does some, depending on the angle you go at. I don't really have anything of him with his head back like that. Again, he's just doing interviews. He's not really super animated. Like one of them, he was reading fan mail, so it's kind of like, I don't know. It'd probably work better. I kind of would like to do a head model with the glasses and his hat, and see if it could all be included and work, fairly effectively. Because there's quite a bit. I don't know how much there is of him with the hat. I'd have to go through the show, or look for some scenes on YouTube and see what I could find. But anyways, let me try some other settings. Funny, like, it doesn't. You'd think it would fit my face better. Like I say, he and I are. That's a little better. You kind of just got to play with settings until you get what you want. That doesn't look that bad. Jesse, we have to cook, Jesse. Jesse, get out of bed, Jesse. So, sharpening it up just kind of makes it get jittery. That's not too bad. Alright, so let me show you guys the Joker. I've been doing a couple of videos with him, so you saw the one, if you saw the one where I put him in the Shining, this was just exported from that. Let me fiddle around with these settings real quick. Jeez. What do I want to do with that? Well, you get the general idea. That's actually pretty good. Like the teeth and stuff on it are really well defined. The mouth, works pretty well. Kind of does some weird, like this particular version of the Joker played by Jack Nicholson. He's only in the one movie, which of course most of them are like that, where like Heath Ledger was only ever in the one. I don't think that Jared Leto played the Joker more than once, so there's not a lot of footage available of him as the Joker. And parts of that movie, even his makeup is different, or like at the beginning, he doesn't have the makeup yet. There's a couple scenes where he paints his face orange over the Joker makeup, which technically isn't supposed to be makeup in the show, but he paints over his orange face. I'm gonna restart my. Let me check something real quick. I just wonder if I'll make sure that. Okay, well, it says I don't have any comments. Sometimes they won't show up until I refresh my live stream on my phone. So weird. Anyhow, I don't know why this thing is doing this. Sorry. I think it's dumb that I have to watch ads on my own videos. But yeah, the Joker I think is pretty good. That turned out pretty sharp. I may try to improve that a bit more, or maybe put him in some more videos. But like the reason I can't get the teeth to close, like when I smile, is my gap in my teeth. It reads that as it thinks that my mouth isn't fully closed. So I have a problem with my teeth that make my mouths not work right. I'm me, but they work fine in videos. This should work fine for you. I can close my mouth, it works, but if I try to smile, you see I get that gap between the upper and lower, because I have, like, I'll show you what I'm talking about. See, I got this here, and that is causing this problem right here. So, anyways, this is also on the Google Drive. It should already be up there. I think I put it in the same folder with the regular Jack Nicholson. I don't think I have that. I might. So this is Joker Jack. And then we have regular Jack Nicholson here. That works a little bit better, the teeth do and stuff for me. Let's see. This one's pretty good. So like I said, this, if you wanted to do some kind of a video where you had both regular Jack Nicholson and then the Joker also, you could switch between the two. And this is already up on my Google Drive. This one's pretty sharp. Teeth work really good in this one. Eyes work pretty good. And this again, I took all this from The Shining. This was from one movie only. I didn't use a bunch of different sources. I probably could improve it a bit more. Like he's in that movie One Flew Over a Cuckoo's Nest. I could probably use footage from that to improve this a bit more. And I think there was at least one or two other scenes from The Shining where I didn't actually use the footage from it, where I could have improved this a bit more. But it works pretty good, as you can see. I think it does a pretty good job. I don't know what's up. Look at this, how this is doing this weird cockeyed thing to the side. I have side profile. It's like this thing has been acting kind of weird lately. I don't know what I'm doing wrong. See, it's like it wants to stay tilted back almost at an angle, which doesn't make sense to me. I don't know what the deal is with that. I don't know if it's a setting or something I'm doing wrong. Strange. Anyways, do a little. See, it still does it from this direction. Freaking weird. It never used to do this. Okay, well, like I said, this one's already in the Google Drive. I think the Joker's already in there with this in the same folder with this model, which is just says Jack Nicholson. And then the last one, like I say, I'll make sure that Cranston is available here in a minute. Oh, hold on. Hey Zulu, how you doing? I appreciate you watching. Yeah, like sometimes I don't understand why it does the things that it does, despite the fact that I've been doing this a long time. I'd like to think I kind of have got it figured out, for the most part, how to make a pretty good live model, but sometimes they still just work kind of strangely. Or again, it's kind of comes down to how good your face set is. So if you don't have a lot of material for a person, it's kind of like it only works as good as it gets, like the garbage in, garbage out philosophy, if you know what I'm talking about. Let me see. Let me show you this one real quick. I was trying. I'm still going to try to use this eventually. This one didn't turn out very good. Her eyes are doing some really strange stuff in this one. I'm not going to pretend to understand why it's doing some of the stuff it's doing here either. Hold on. Like it's sharp, pretty much. Gan needed more time on it, but it's acting very strangely. Her eyes are just like googly all the time, which is really funny. But I kind of restarted this one, but I made a new pre-trained model with really high autoencoder dimensions. This one's just like googly eyes, like if you had like those big frickin', toy googly eyes that bugger all over the place. That's what this one looks like to me. It's kind of hard to concentrate. Look at it. Yeah, it's silly looking though, right? But I started a new model with, let's see, the dimensions are 768, 72, 72, 40. And so I can only sort of barely train that reasonably well on a 24 gig card, but it trains well enough. I've got up to about like 850, 900,000 iterations now. It's getting better. I'm trying to use it for a couple scenes from the movie Blade Runner to play Rachel, which is Sean Young's character in the movie. And it's come along pretty good, but I've still got a few days probably before that'll be done. So what else do I got in here? I can try let me load this other one up. This is the one I tried the other day of Brian. So this was the first one I tried with it. Honestly, I don't think it's any worse or better to speak of than the one I got now. Maybe a little bit better, a little bit worse, I don't know. The facial hair, like I say, still doesn't want to come through. What is this? Fresh new 2023 video instructions for making a live output. Yeah, I mean, let's see. The 4080 cards, well, the A5000 has more memory. Like, it's a 24 gig card, which is comparable to like a 3090. I think you could get a 3090 a lot cheaper than a A5000 though, couldn't you? Because the like the A5000 is a workstation card, and it's got like ECC memory, but aside from that, I think it's probably actually a bit slower even than a 3090 because they use like GDDR6 instead of GDDR6X memory. And also, like, I know the 3090s, like, I've seen them used now for like $800 or maybe even a little bit less than that. That's American. I don't know. I don't know where you're at. Second, I need something to drink. This one almost looks as good, if not better, than the final product. That's weird. But the A5000 is a good card if you can get one cheaper or whatever, or if you can't find a 3090 locally. No, this one is not the final one, dude. Hold on. But I don't know if you like it better or not. I don't know. I've trained it for like several days, man, and usually I can crank one of these out in like an afternoon, quite frankly. Yeah, dude, these are all being the Google Drive. I don't know what it is either with like facial hair. Like, it doesn't always translate through worth a darn. I don't know why I'm having that problem. It really doesn't do the good. The 4090 is the same as the 3090 or the 3090 Ti in terms of what you can train. It's just faster. So it has, like 8,000 more CUDA cores, and they're on the new architecture, the Ada Lovelace architecture instead of Ampere. So yeah, it's a lot faster. It's about 30% faster, I guess, for like iteration training times. But it still has 24 gigs of memory, so you're limited as to like what resolution you can do or what settings you can enable. That's like the limiting factor is the VRAM. Southeast Asia, it's hard to get cards. Actually considering flying home just to get to Best Buy. Yeah. Well, the problem with Best Buy, man, is like you really can't find. It's kind of hit or miss with that too. If you could find something on their website and order it ahead of time, come home and pick it up, that might work out for you. The 4080 though, with only 16 gigs of video memory, like apparently the 4080 is supposed to be a little faster even than like a 3090 Ti. I don't know if that's true in Deepfacelab or not, but for gaming and stuff it's supposed to be faster. but they only have the 16 gigs of memory, and that's really a limiting amount of video memory. You'd be surprised, like if you're trying to do live models and you want to do them at like these are 320 resolution. If you want to do them at a decent resolution, let's see, yeah, you can do that, Bot Gamer. I'm trying to find another 3090 Ti. Oh, so yeah, that's not bad. Because in American, that'd be like 1750 or something like that, or $1,800. It's not that much of a difference anymore from the U.S. to Canadian dollar. But I already have. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, again, if you can find a better deal on a 3090, they would be faster, just because it has like the faster video memory. It's the same amount, but it's faster memory. It's 6x instead of 6. And it's at a higher clock speed. They use more power though too, so like there's kind of a trade-off. Like the A5000, and I have an A6000, one of my machines. They use like 250, 300 watts versus the 3090s, 3090 Ti's. They use like 400 watts. Yeah, probably at some point. I thought somebody did one, Crack Juice. I know somebody had. Maybe they didn't make a live model out of it, but I know that somebody had done Jesse Pinkman just for the sake of. There's like a Discord server that people share this stuff on, so I thought at some point I saw Jesse Pinkman, but maybe they didn't make it really public or whatever. Yeah, Jesse's somebody else I'll probably work with as well. I'd like to get this beard to work better on this. I don't know if anybody has any suggestions. It just seems like, I mean, it's when I go look at it in the training window. How long did it take the full head? This is not the full head. What are we talking about? Bot life. What do you mean, Zulu? How many do I recommend? What do you mean? Smeagol's not a head model either. Smeagol's just whole face. It took me like most of the time I can do these in like an afternoon. It's just like, or like when I say an afternoon, like let's say, oh, how many cards? I don't know. Can your system handle 2 of them? You have a big enough power supply and an NV-Link bridge. You won't be able to get a bridge at Best Buy. They don't sell them. What's your budget like? Can you get an RTX A6000? Because that'd really be the bomb if you can do that. Depends how much money you want to spend, I guess. I mean, they're on eBay, Bot Life Gamer. I've got a couple of them. I just don't have any cards that they work with right now. I would like to get another A6000. I actually may buy one tomorrow. We'll see if there's one up on eBay right now for a pretty good price. It's got like 18 hours left on it or something. And there's like 2 people bidding on it, but the price is still about what the guy listed it for, so it hasn't gone up much. We'll see. If it's not crazy expensive tomorrow, I really want to get a second A6000, and then, God, I could go nuts with that. That'd be all right. Let's see. Well, I mean, all right, Zulu, but again, like if you've never done like a dual GPU system. Like they have to be the exact. It would definitely help if you had 2 of the exact same kind. So like Bot Life Gamer was talking about Founders Edition 3090s. So like if you had 2 3090 Founders Editions or 2 3090 EVGA like XC3s or something. There's a bunch of different models, of course, from different companies. But for some reason, like for example, EVGA's cards, especially like the For the Win 3 edition. Hey Platt, how you doing, man? This will be on the Google Drive here in a little bit. We were talking about how the beard isn't like perfect, but it's pretty good, man. For your purposes, I think it'll be fine until I can improve it. It's just like it works pretty good. You can see, as long as you look at the camera pretty much, move around a little bit, it seems fine. You seem to have had better luck with the ones that I don't know if my camera or my setup in here. Like maybe I need to move my lighting or something. Maybe it would improve it. I don't know, but this will be available for you here in a little bit, dude. But anyways, talking about video cards, Zulu. So like you need two cards that are the same model, like I say, and you can't take like a 3090 and pair it with a 3090 Ti. They have to both be either 3090s or they have to both be. No, they're not that much, dude. I got the one I got for like $3,500 a year ago, and no, I think it was 4,300. Sorry, but they're a lot cheaper than that now, at least on eBay. Glad to hear it, Platt. Yep, you'll have it here in a little bit. Excuse me. Pardon. Anyways, so for like you can't take a 3090 and pair it with a 3090 Ti. You can't take a 3090 and pair it with like an RTX A5000 or something. And the cards are different sizes quite often too. That's the problem more than anything else. So, excuse me, if you took like a 3090 from MSI and tried to pair it up with an EVGA 3090, unless the PCB, like the printed circuit boards, are the same size and like they line up in the case correctly, the bridge, which is rigid, will not connect them. Like you'll end up bending it and breaking it or something. They don't make flexible NVLink bridges. They used to do flexible SLI bridges back in the day, which was like the predecessor to NVLink. If you guys are not that old, I'm 43, almost. I'll be 43 this month. I'm getting so old, and like all the wrinkles I have at 43, right? Anyways, so you could take and like kind of jigger it a little bit because the bridge was flexible, but now they're not, and so you have to have two cards that are the same height and whatnot. The other option, if they're not the same size, which I did before, and I know other people that have done this, is you have to buy like two riser cables, which is like a PCI Express extension cable that can run outside the case and physically take both cards and have them sitting outside of the case, connect them with the NVLink bridge, excuse me, and do something so like they don't shift around or whatever. They have to stay kind of rigid and together. Takes a huge amount of power as well. You need probably like a 1500 watt power supply, probably like 12 to 1500 to run dual 3090s, you know, like whatever your processor is, unless you get kind of a cheesy processor, but why would you? So you probably get at least like an i7 from Intel or the AMD equivalent. The other thing to think about is PCI Express lanes. If you've never built a PC and don't know what that is, there's a lot to learn about building a PC. It's not that complicated to put them together, but knowing how to get like the full bandwidth out of things, yeah, like a 13900K, you could run dual cards on that, but they'll each run at only 8 lanes because the CPU doesn't have enough PCI Express lanes to hand off bandwidth to both cards. Like normally a card runs at 16 lanes if it's by itself, but if you get 2 of them, the CPU, I think those have like 24 lanes. So they'll give like 8 to the primary GPU, 8 to the secondary GPU. All right, hold on. I don't know why it's crashing when it unzips. I don't know what to tell you about that. That's nothing I can do for that. I don't know what error are you getting, I guess. Yeah, exactly. So it'll run 8 by 8, and then you'll have like 8 lanes left for a couple NVMe drives or something on the system. But if you want both cards to run at 16x, which I don't think matters probably for deep learning. I don't know. I've never nobody's tested things like this and taken like 2 GPUs in a Threadripper system and said, okay, they're running at 16x a piece versus the system next to them and had them run at 8x a piece and seen if there's any speed difference. It probably doesn't matter. But theoretically, if you want them to run at 16x a piece, then you would need like a Threadripper CPU. I don't know. Again, I'm not saying it's not worth it. Like Bot Life Game was saying, they'll run at 8x, and since nobody's really tested the difference, I know in gaming, there's like less than a 1% difference between running them at 8x and 16x, so it probably doesn't matter. It'd probably be still way more performance gained from 2 cards than you might lose from them running at 8x a piece. But again, they use a lot of power. You figure if 2 cards are physically sitting like right on top of each other practically, especially with a lot of the newer cards that are like 2.5, 3.5 slots thick, they're basically smashed right up against each other. They can't really get proper ventilation, so they get hot, especially if you're just running them all the time, which to make deepfakes is all you ever do is just run the cards all the time. So they're going to get hot. They're going to use a lot of power. So depending on what model you get, will they even fit in your case? Does your motherboard have enough slots? Because sometimes, like the PCI Express slots are... Oh, sorry, that's the last place I should have put... That's kind of funny. It actually... You can see me through the bottle. Okay. That's funny. Anyways, I didn't expect that to work. But you can take and look at the motherboard, and sometimes it's like the primary and secondary 16x slot are 4 spaces apart, sometimes only 3 slots apart. So depending how big the cooler is on the card, you may not even physically be able to take and put a card in the top slot and even get a card into the second slot because it'd be bumping against the cooler of the first one. So that's a problem. And then they make 3-slot and 4-slot NVLink bridges. So you have to decide what size bridge do I need based on the motherboard that I have, the GPUs that I want to go with. Do I have enough power? Will they run over? Get too hot? There's a lot to consider. It's if you want to do 2 cards. Whereas with 1 card, it's pretty straightforward. And actually, a lot of the newer cards, like the 3090 Ti's, use that new ATX 3.0 16-pin power connection, which has to convert 4 8-pin power PCI Express connections to a single 16-pin connection. Most power supplies don't even have 8 PCI Express power connections to hook up and split down to 2 16s to run 2 GPUs. So your power supply may not be enough. You might even have to use 2 power supplies, which I actually did when I set this up. So you can do that, but it's a pain in the neck. So your decision to make, but it's more money, a lot of heat, a lot of power used, so you're going to run more electricity. It's going to heat up your room more. If possible, get the fastest single card with the most memory that you can do. I think is probably the best option for most people to go with. Sorry, I was getting thirsty. I'm flapping my gums here a lot, and I'm getting thirsty. Yeah, I mean, again, the A6000. Well, the new A6000 is like $7,000. The Ada Lovelace edition, I think they launched that last month. But yeah, you're welcome, Zulu. It's not. I wish it was easier to do, and like I said, they're not really even supporting NVLink anymore. So the 4000 series doesn't have support for it. The new RTX A6000 Ada Lovelace edition doesn't have NVLink. So if you could afford it, which as you said, it probably is out of your price range. It's out of my price range. I don't want to blow $7,000 in a video card. But the new A6000 Lovelace edition with 48 gigs of DDR6 is the fastest single card probably right now with the most memory that you could use if you wanted to make deepfakes. You can do I have an A6000, but it's the previous generation one with 48 gigs, and you can do 512 res models pretty easily, although they still take a while. But you can do 512 res at batch 12 with pretty high dimensions and get good models out of it. It still takes a long time. The iteration speed is not fast. It's 1500 milliseconds when you're not even in GAN yet, so it's pretty slow, but it's doable. And you can even do 640 resolution models. It's just that much slower again. Then you're talking about 2500 milliseconds for batch 8 or 6. And then when you enable GAN, you have to drop down to batch 4, and it takes a very long time to get a finalized product. Not really worth, unless you just got to do the most insane resolution and quality you can do. If Deepfacelab used PyTorch instead of TensorFlow, to my understanding, it would be more efficient and a bit faster, and you would be able to do models like that on probably significantly lesser hardware. But currently, Deepfacelab, I don't think there's any intention by the developer to make any more changes to it. And so unless he releases a different product later on, or somebody else launches a new version of something else Face Swap or something that uses PyTorch, becomes user friendly enough and becomes efficient enough that people want to use it. Currently we're kind of hitting the wall until new hardware comes out again, which it just came out, so it's going to be a while before we see new stuff. Last thing I would tell you is don't get AMD video cards. Like they have the 7900 XTX that just came out, which is 24 gigs, but AMD doesn't work very well with Deepfacelab. I don't even know if those cards work with it at all. I've never tried one of them. I don't think anybody has. And there was a lot of problems with the last generation, which the RX 6000 series cards didn't work very well with Deepfacelab for a long time. There's like a version of TensorFlow called DirectML that I was on GitHub with some of the developers of that for a while, explaining to them what it was doing and why it wasn't working right. They did eventually fix it. It just took them like a year. And anyways, so those cards didn't work right with Deepfacelab for a very long time, and I don't know if the new 7000 series from AMD has those same problems. Does it have new problems? And I've heard that those are having a lot of overheating problems because the vapor chambers in them are faulty. And so if that's the case, I'd get something that works better and has stable cooling and, whatever. I'd stick with NVIDIA, definitely, for this. If you want to play games, the AMD cards are probably fine. But if you're into doing this deep faking, the A5000, if you can get one for a good price, would be a fine card. It uses less power. They don't run all that hot, especially if you can get nice cooling on them. They have water blocks for them, so options. Anyways, anybody? I don't know how to pronounce this Russian name I'm seeing. I'm sorry. Says you said they're using Deepface Live version. Let's see, 10.18. Well, there's a newer version than that. There's okay. Crashes when unzipping. So what do you mean it crashes? Like you're getting an error message of some kind? I'm not sure if he's in here anymore, actually. I was having a weird issue with Deepface Live in general the other day where it just kept freezing up. As soon as it would detect my face, the whole application would freeze. Does FPS matter when putting in an FPS source? I don't know what you mean. On the camera source, I just tell it auto. I think it's pretty much whatever the camera supports. So in my case, this camera will do 60 FPS, but I'm getting like 35 because that's about the limitation of what this card will run this model at with the settings I'm using. For the data sort, what? Where are you downloading the file from? I don't know how to pronounce your name, sorry. So you said when you're extracting from the source, does the FPS matter? I mean, I just set it to 0, so it extracts everything. Then you go back and delete like the stuff you didn't want, right? Okay. Well, I haven't had any problems with that one, and I've opened it a bunch. I just downloaded that one yesterday. It works fine. So I'm not sure. What error are you getting exactly? Because I was having a problem with the one I already had installed. I re-downloaded it from Yandex, and it seems to be fine for me. So the guy having the that's literally the one I just downloaded it yesterday from the same place. What error message are you getting? Say it crashes, but I don't know what that means. Are you using Windows 11 or using Windows? I don't know. It's weird. Let's see something here. Okay. I mean, I'm using Windows 11, but I know from my understanding, people think that Windows 10 is still probably works better than 11. So I'm not sure what problem you're having exactly. Can you tell me what the exact error message actually is? Sorry, I'm looking something up here. Not sure if I can move this folder. Alright, well. I gotta get off here pretty soon, man. Are you in the Discord for Deepfacelab? Alright, Mongolian. So you're extracting it now. It sounds like it's working then. I'm not sure. Uziel Omar of the doll. How can I model another person's face? What do you mean? Like, how can you make it a deepfake? If that's what you're asking, I've got lots of tutorials on my channel. I've got 3 of them on here. What do you, Uziel Vidal, what are you trying to do? See. Data error. I don't know. Yeah, you have to post like a screenshot in Discord because it's not doing that to me. I just use the same one that you downloaded. You said the previous version works though? That's weird. Other than updating to Windows 11, I'm assuming you've got like everything else up to date. Why is Discord not loading? There we go. That's strange. Like I said, I guess I'd post it in the main DeepX channel and just see if anybody has any ideas in there. They're probably just going to try to blame your computer or something. That seems to be the common thread in there. Like, it can never be that the software has got a problem or anything like that. But in fairness, like I say, it seems to work fine on my system. So I am not Studio Art. I'm Drizzle. Technically, it's hold on. Mine is Drizzle hashtag 7456 is the user name. All right. I'm using 11 just because at some point I decided to see how it worked and I didn't really have any problems with it, so seems alright. Alright. Well, guys, I do want to get off here. I haven't had anything for dinner yet. I've been home already like an hour and a half, and I've just been fiddling around with these things as I often do. I get distracted, so I guess if you have any more questions or comments, leave them in the comments section below. Otherwise, to access the Bryan Cranston model and Jack Nicholson and any other stuff that is already on my Google Drive, the description for the video has the link to my Google Drive where you can access any of these files. They're all free. I don't charge anybody for this stuff. And I guess if you have any questions, like I said, leave them in the comments section. If you feel like leaving me a little money for all this stuff, because I don't charge anybody, but if people want to leave a tip, there's a PayPal tip jar link in the description also, which would be appreciated but not required. My electric bills are very high, and these things use a lot of power. So that said, appreciate you guys watching, stopping by. Had a lot of good interaction tonight. A lot of people watched the video. That's nice. Anyways, I will try to improve this Cranston model a bit. Like I say, I may restart it or try one with the hat and the glasses and a head model. I think that would work better to get more source material, or at least the glasses, because there's way more of him in the show where he's got some kind of facial hair and he's wearing the glasses. I didn't do them because glasses don't tend to work super well on a source character in just the whole face. If you do the head, it's a different story. So that said, appreciate you guys watching, and I will talk to you guys again very soon. Have a good night.